on RMU Live, our own John Fisher was at Colonial Chaos and got to talk to President DeLomo about the event. Police are under scrutiny after the violent shooting of a homeless man in Los Angeles. And here's something you don't see every day. Llamas on the run in Arizona. All this and more, next.
Welcome back to RMU Live for Monday, March 2nd, 2015. I'm Hannah Smith.
And I'm Victoria Lomax. Now over to Jordan Morley with a traffic update.
Thank you, Victoria. We had some icy roads this morning. We had a lot of accidents on the roadways. Take a look at the traffic map here. Robinson Township, there's a little bit of a delay, but the major roadways 79, 279, and 376 west and east are pretty good. These little red dots are just construction. There was some ice here, though, I am concerned about. If you are traveling downtown, do take your time, though. Secondary streets could be an issue, so if you're traveling out for your neighborhood, give time for road crews. But again, all green or good on the major roadways. I'm thinking this might be a glitch because that's the only area that's red. Otherwise, all green or good if you're heading out this afternoon. Now, my full forecast has rain and a flood watch potential. Stay tuned.
Another Colonial Chaos has come and gone, but RMU Live's own John Fisher was there to give you all the details.
Wednesday brought one of the best charitable events in RMU history. While a no-show from Romo Steve caused a rift in the program that evening, it didn't take away the smiles from people's faces after giving to a good cause.
I came out to see this basketball shootout, I guess. I guess it benefits cystic fibrosis as well.
At the end of the night, Colonial Chaos raised $2,000 for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. President DeLomo's family has a history with cystic fibrosis and was very excited to participate in his last Colonial Chaos event.
Well, I'm here to support the event because I think it's a great cause, and the fact that students are doing it as part of their initiatives, I think it's wonderful. But it's also a personal matter for me because my two boys have cystic fibrosis, so I've been very appreciative of the students who have done this for probably the last 3 or 4 years. And they've raised a lot of money.
It all started at the Gus Crop Gym Wednesday morning when Robert Moore students were shooting free throws for cystic fibrosis, to here at the Sewell Center watching RMU celebrities and athletes shooting free throws for cystic fibrosis. If you want to learn more about the fight and the disease itself, visit www.cff.org. Reporting from Colonial Chaos, I'm John Fisher, RMU Century Media.
Thanks, John. If you are looking to attend more events that benefit cystic fibrosis in the Pittsburgh area, you can find a full list at www.cff.org.
The opening reception for Women's History Month kicks off today from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the Sewell Center Arena. This year's theme is Weaving the Stories of Women's Lives. The reception will feature a sitwithme.org event in which attendees will have the opportunity to collaborate with the National Center for Women in Information Technology. Following the event, all are welcome to support the RMU women's basketball team as they face off against Wagner.
All right, Division I sports could be seeing a new venue within the coming years. Robert Morris is looking to get $15 million from the Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program to build a new convocation center. This 4,500 seating arena will be home to RMU's basketball and volleyball teams and will be available for regional use as well. According to spokesperson Jonathan Potts, this project is still in the early stages of planning.
Tomorrow, students and faculty can catch a screening of Despite the Gods, an award-winning film by visiting documentary filmmaker Penny Bosniak. Bosniak is from Australia and has been nominated for 5 Best Documentary Feature Awards and recently won a Best Director Award. The screening will take place at Wheatley, room 110 at 5:30 p.m. with refreshments before and a question and answer session with Bosniak following the film.
The cause of a fire that left 1 man dead in Moon Township not too far from campus is still under investigation. Moon Township firefighters were called to Casablanca Apartments on Moon Clinton Road early Saturday morning. A man in his 50s was found dead in his living room and neighbors were not able to get to him in time to save him. The victim's name has not yet been released.
Police are investigating a shooting that occurred around 1 a.m. this morning in the Strip District. When police arrived at Club Ivy, people were leaving through the door and some were even hanging from the second-floor balcony. Once police made their way inside, they found 1 man shot in the thigh and finger who was taken to the hospital. Another 5 people were also injured by glass while trying to leave the club. There is still no word on the suspected shooter.
And for everything you need to know involving RMU news, sports, and arts and entertainment, be sure to check out rmucenturymedia.com. We have more news from around the world coming up after the break.
Another death at the hands of police officers in Los Angeles. Why this homeless man was shot dead.
The Texas nurse that had Ebola still hasn't returned to work. Who is she suing now?
Plus, why the nuclear talks between President Obama and Benjamin Netanyahu won't be smooth sailing. We'll explain after the break.
They are the Red Sea. They need to be able to feed themselves. Penn State couldn't beat the Colonials in a game. It truly was a shame. And then Sacred Heart pioneered.
The RMU Century Media app is your mobile resource for all news Robert Morris. With access to campus news, RMU sports, and lifestyles, as well as RMU radio and RMU TV, the RMU Century Media app allows you access to all the information you need, no matter where you are. You'll have access to thousands of articles already online, and the new ones that are added daily. Download the RMU Century Media app for free today.
Hello, I'm back. How are you?
I missed you.
I missed you too. Choo choo! They're a train that keeps on rolling. Who would win in a fight, Ditka or a hurricane? I swear, each year could become a feel-good movie for the whole family. They just aren't losing. It's a shame, isn't it? Do you know how to tame a tiger? Either grow up with them or keep one as a pet like Mike Tyson.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure being by your side.
Okay.
The violent shooting of a homeless man in Los Angeles is now under investigation after it was caught on tape. CNN's Sarah Cinder has more.
The video taken by a witness in downtown Los Angeles begins with an altercation between police and a man on the street. We don't see what caused the incident to turn violent. The man appears to throw punches towards one of the 4 officers on the scene who were trying to arrest him on suspicion of robbery. It escalates, ending up on the ground. You hear someone say what sounds like "drop the gun." Then the sound of a taser goes off. Then more shouting that sounds like "drop the gun" yelled twice. A struggle continues and 5 shots are fired. The suspect lies motionless in the street. Police say the suspect attempted to grab the officer's gun.
During the attempt to detain him, this individual resisted our officers. They struggled with him. They tried to tase him a couple times. That was ineffective. And eventually, the struggle occurred where the officers were struggling with the individual over one of the officers' weapons.
Police say 3 officers fired their weapons, including a supervisor. An investigation is underway.
There's been criticism. There were a lot of officers and only one guy. Why did they have to shoot him? How does the department respond to that?
That analysis is based on one video, which shows a portion of the incident that occurred. We want to wait till all the video's in that's available. We want to wait till all the people have been interviewed, all the witnesses, all the officers, to determine exactly what happened before we make any kind of judgment whether this was proper or not.
Dozens protested the shooting last night outside the Pershing Square. We will continue to update you on this story as it develops.
A nurse at the Texas Health Presbyterian Hospital in Dallas is filing a lawsuit against the hospital's parent company, Texas Health Resources, after contracting the Ebola virus while treating a patient. Nina Pham was the first person in the U.S. to contract the Ebola virus. According to the suit, the hospital chain failed to provide proper equipment and training to handle Ebola. The lawsuit also claims that Texas Health Resources violated Pham's privacy by showing her medical records. Pham is still employed with the hospital, but fatigue and body aches have kept her from returning to work.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is in the U.S. to give a speech to Congress. CNN's Andy Rose reports.
Since he is coming, I intend to go.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's trip to the U.S. is nothing if not controversial. In apparent break with the Obama administration, the Israeli leader will address Congress Tuesday. He's calling for tougher sanctions against Iran and doesn't want a planned nuclear deal with the country to go through. More than 30 Democratic lawmakers say they plan to boycott the speech. But Senator Dianne Feinstein says she's going, although she doesn't believe the Israeli leader speaks for all Jews.
He doesn't speak for me on this. I think the Jewish community is like any other community. There are different points of view.
President Obama's supporters say the congressional invitation is a snub at the White House. The administration wasn't consulted first. House Speaker John Boehner told CBS Sunday.
What I do wonder is why the White House feels threatened, because the Congress wants to support Israel and wants to hear what a trusted ally has to say.
At home in Israel, the prime minister's trip is stirring controversy too. Former security officials have called the trip a mistake. They say it will damage Israel's relationship with the U.S. Despite all the rhetoric, the official administration line appears to be Netanyahu is a welcome guest. Speaking Sunday on ABC, Secretary of State John Kerry said,
"The Prime Minister is welcome in the United States at any time. We have an unparalleled close security relationship with Israel."
But analysts say that relationship may soon grow colder if the speech drives potentially friendly Democrats to President Obama's side. I'm Andy Rose reporting.
Congress is set to hear Netanyahu's speech on Tuesday.
After a short time in captivity, the latest decision by ISIS to release 19 Christian prisoners is leaving many people to ask why. Until now, the militant group's maltreatment of its captives had become predictable. Of the 19 Christians released on Sunday, all but one were part of a group of 220 Assyrians captured last week during offenses on northern Syrian villages. 10 more Assyrian Christians are also expected to be freed. ISIS has not explained its decision.
More violence has broken out in the streets of Hong Kong. Protesters against Chinese visitors coming to Hong Kong to shop and then resell for profit. Protesters say that they leave Hong Kong residents with a shortage of basic supplies when they come and buy foods at lower tax rates.
While they had a good run, even a llama's journey must come to an end. KTVK's Karen Brown has more.
All the group at my retirement center are overwhelmed. They're so happy to know that they were on television.
Richard Falkenberg can laugh now, but he was the one holding on to the ringleader, Kanita, when the llamas went on the lam in Sun City, capturing the nation's attention.
I know, spooked them. But we're not going to talk about that because of the person involved, not me.
Richard had asked friends Karen Friend and Bub Bullis to bring some llamas to his Jincare Retirement Center when one of the residents with a plastic bag spooked Kanita.
The poor lady that did that is still in college.
Richard was knocked to the ground.
And I was just scared to death at something. He had broken something. And then she started to drag him. And so I told him to let her go.
And the chase was on.
I felt bad, and you weren't going to let me see.
I felt just horrible.
So Karen and Bob invited Richard to their Phoenix home to make sure everyone was okay.
Because I knew he'd lie to me and tell me he was fine.
I wouldn't.
Oh, yes, you would.
And the two culprits have also recovered.
And you're a bad girl, huh?
Back to their training, Kanita and Lainey, when not on the run, are both show llamas.
And I put the streamers on it just as another little distraction.
Even competing in obstacle competitions, but last week, their freedom got the best of them.
And then it became a game for her. She was playing out in this big field. She had all this room to run.
Nothing's bruised, I'm just old.
Full of llama love, Richard is not holding any grudges.
Anytime that I can get to come and work with them, I'd like to because they're wonderful things. The llamas are absolutely super.
Onlookers from far and wide watched as the llama chase played out through a live stream.
All right, now, Kristen, what's the latest in sports news in Pittsburgh and across the country?
Well, Hannah, find out what happens when the Pittsburgh Penguins face off against the Blue Jackets and how Adrian Peterson is making headlines once again.
And while we don't have llamas in Pittsburgh, we do have flood watches to catch my full forecast coming up.
That was clever. I enjoyed that. That was cool.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome back to RMU Live. I'm Kristen Cudlow with this week's sports wrap-up. The Pittsburgh Penguins took to the ice yesterday to take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. In the first 20 minutes of the game, it was back-and-forth action between the two teams as the score was tied going into the first intermission. But come the second period, it was all Penguins all the time. Evgeny Malkin tallied 2 goals and an assist in just the first 40 minutes, his third consecutive three-point performance. 18 seconds into the third period, Steve Downey tallied one last goal for the Penguins. However, the defense let up 2 final goals before the final buzzer. The Pittsburgh Penguins extend their win streak to 4 games and defeat the Blue Jackets with a final score of 5-3. With that being said, the Penguins have been having strong success of late, and with the trade deadline here, will the Penguins make a change to their roster? Only time will tell. From the NHL to the NFL, Minnesota Viking running back Adrian Peterson's appeal of a league suspension was announced Friday. U.S. District Judge David S. Dowdy overturned the suspension that cost Peterson the remainder of his season. Peterson was suspended without pay for the rest of the season, at least, and will not be reconsidered until April 15th of this year for violating personal conduct policy. Whether or not Peterson will remain with the Vikings is still up in the air, but it is being reported that 3 teams are interested in making a play for the all-pro runner. Well, that's all the time we have over here in sports. Now over to Jordan with the weather.
Now, I'm sick of snow. So we have a little bit of rain coming our way. A flood watch has been issued for Allegheny County, Westmoreland, and also Washington counties. This was issued this morning. It's going to go through Friday, so take a look at the 5-day forecast. This is where we have the issue, guys. Monday, perfect day. Don't worry about today. It's going to be nice. Tuesday into Wednesday afternoon, it's going to be a mix of rain and snow. But then you see this 37-degree temperature, a lot of warm air is coming into the area. We're going to get 1 to 2 inches of rain. A lot of potential for the snow to melt. Now, northern counties could see less rain. It's going to be kind of a Butler, Beaver, Allegheny potential. Then Thursday and Friday dry. But again, these 2 areas right here, this 37-degree temperature is going to be around midnight. And then again, we're dry for the rest of the week. Back to the news desk.
And thank you, Kristen, with this week's sports, and Jordan with the weather. That's all we have for RMU Live this afternoon.
We'll see you next time.